fast, fatal thought impact. Past painful thoughts, in fact, I blast tasteful thoughts and past. I back up my actions, fact, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked, attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, let us begin. Whenever we last left off with this series, Deku, he asked the human scientist that the yautja they've been keeping around and letting them do their own thing with their older technology. Deku, he asked them for help. He wanted to know about certain things he might be able to get some help with whenever it came to the queen hunt. Deku was able to pick 2 items to take, since the yautja elder, well, he saw it as, oh yeah, they're just using older model tech. It's still humans. They're still unpredictable. Now, Deku, Aki, and Vassier, they have landed on the planet, and they've already started to encounter xenomorphs, even within a 500-mile range of the nest. Now, they are somewhere outside of that range. That's where they were dropped off at. No matter which direction you want to say it is, you know they're going to be heading towards the center. And even then, it's not really exactly too clear. They don't know exactly where her nest is, but they know it's within this area. And right now, you do have where Deku, he's currently running through the forest. And as he is running, you do have where his plasma caster, it's auto-locking on targets. It's going to shoot 3 blasts to Deku's left, as Deku, he does look that way, and then go to immediately chuck his smart disc. As whenever he does do that, you do have where Deku, he does go to draw his shuriken. Along with even him going to bring up his spear that does have a xenomorph tail. As Deku, whenever he does start running around, and his smart disc is flying through the air, whenever his xenomorph does try to leap in between a tree line, you do have where it is immediately slashed upwards in one of its legs. The xenomorph hitting against the tree as it tried to jump off and got slashed. It's falling and stumbling thanks to its weight being shifted before being shot out of the air. And Deku, as he does go to bring his hand up, the smart disc does go to respond. It coming backwards to the xenomorph and slashing right through its tail. As Deku, while he's running, he actually is going to leap the opposite direction and out of the way of the acid. As Deku, whenever he does leap through the air and land on the tree, he does go to leap to another one. The moment Deku does so, you know where a xenomorph does come crawling around the side of it and go to lash outwards with its tail. Deku going to throw the shuriken, as he does slash out the xenomorph tail as he goes flying a few feet in front of Deku and to his left. Deku trying to avoid the blood, as he is going to throw out his spear as far as he can with his hand. Deku smashing it into a xenomorph's face, as he is quickly going to pull it out. Before Deku, whenever he does land on the tree, he does go to leap upwards and forwards. As we do have war on comms, he is talking. So, exactly does everyone else know where they're going? Yes, I'm clear over here, Scar. Yes, that's right. We know exactly what to do. We've always prepared for certain hunts like this. In fact, right now this does feel kind of exhilarating. I never thought I'd be hunting a queen, especially not with a human. Vasya, I understand that. Now, we all know the locations around this area. We've studied them somewhat extensively, and I believe I would know where the best spot would be. Yes, you've claimed that before. However, I do have a good idea as to where she might be. We only know, thanks to certain seismic readings, about the area. There are many caves and caverns. However, you're stating that she's going to try to be, well, somewhere under the ocean? Yes, I know. It sounds ridiculous, but just hear me out. If she's under the ocean in a nice, cold, dark place, it would make sense, right? Besides, I mean, if it's an experienced queen, maybe she knows what she's dealing with already. Maybe she's been failed to be hunted before. So you're going into this thinking that your prey already has experience? Yeah, I know. Deku just say, while he's leaping through the air, he actually is going to bring up his hand and go to toss a smart disc. Him cutting off his xenomorph's head as he still does go continuing forward. Before he does eventually continue talking and arrive at one of the locations they need to mark off. And Deku, whenever he does go to bring up his gauntlet and then go to press a few buttons, he does actually maneuver his smart disc. As he does go to bring up his hand and get ready. Him drawing his short sword and going to leap off and down onto the ground. As he does go walking forwards. Now, Deku, while he is walking forwards, he is just trying to think. Him bringing his hand up to his gauntlet and starting to click onto a few buttons, as he's at least trying to calibrate where he is on the map, along with even looking at the seismic activity that must have gone on in the area recently. And Deku, he's at least looking through a map of the underground, and seeing exactly how the activity nearby may have affected it. And while Deku is doing so, he's at least trying to compare. Now, as Deku he is clicking a few buttons, you do have where he does hear something behind him. Deku at least going to make a move for his smart disc, as it does go to spin around. Deku going to turn and slash, as it does go to throw it directly out and towards a couple xenomorphs. Some of them, as they're barreling outwards, Deku he does go to bring his hand up and start pressing buttons. As his cannon does start to fire off against the xenomorph. And the moment Deku actually is going to look through a few of them, they do start just firing. As Deku fires a few bolts, and he does strike most of the xenomorph with at least somewhat lasting damage. As some of them they do spray acid on each other, and one Deku actually does hit, it does get punched straight through. The xenomorph right behind it, getting covered with a small bit of blood as it does rush towards Deku. And Deku, whenever he does try to fire it off, his cannon tries to tell him he needs at least a few more minutes to cool down, or he has at least a 2-minute cooldown. And Deku, he at least does go on the defensive. Him going to actually jump backwards as the Xenomorph does lunge at him. Deku being able to dodge his head out of the way of the tail as it's going to grab onto it. Him going to wrap his arm onto it with his left shoulder, before going to bring up his right hand and grabbing it, before actually trying to get a good grip. As Deku, whenever the Xenomorph does try to lunge forwards towards him, Deku just goes to pull the Xenomorph up and over his head. As Deku does go smashed onto the ground with a heavy heave-ho. Now, the moment that actually has happened, you do have where on the comms, the two yautja, they did hear Deku's voice get a bit more distressed. And they did even receive an alert that Deku's plasma caster has overheated. And we actually do have where Aki, she does try to at least find out where Deku is. Her being able to look at a live feed of his mask, as she does see Deku go to swing the Xenomorph directly into a tree, smashing it before going to throw it upwards and down hard. As Deku, whenever he does so, he actually does have his plasma caster inform him that it is now available for one shot, since it has cooled down with enough ease. Deku at least going to aim it towards a tree and blast right into it, as the tree does start to fall over and smash onto the Xenomorph, it crushing its body. As Deku, he does go to get ready. Deku, he does go to unsheath his, gauntlets. And you do have where a key, she does watch what does happen next. As Deku, he does at least start a conversation. Okay. Sorry about that, got a bit, caught up. I noticed. That was quite impressive. Thanks. Anyways, it's not in this area. From what I can tell, we've at least been able to clear a 5-mile radius. Let's see. Okay, accounting for this, I gotta go to the south. Okay, but that's towards land. Hmm? Are you saying that you were wrong? I never said that, Vasia. I'm just saying, looks like we're at least clearing the land first. But that doesn't make sense. Right now we're close to the sea, and we've encountered quite a bit, haven't we? I've at least killed 30 of these things today. Hmm? I myself have noticed about 27 and taken them down. Hmm? I found at least 30. Hmm. Interesting. And your kills? 28. Two of them ran off on me. They're injured. However, I doubt they'll stay injured for long. Hmm. Understandable. Scar. Hmm. Yeah. I suggest we regroup. Nightfall is in a couple hours. If we clear things better, we might be able to move as one unit. And then, whenever the time is right, we can stop and rest for the night. I understand that. We have about, what, 10 days on this planet? Yes, we do. The hunt, it would be over in 10 days. Then the ship, it will automatically head home. At least that's how the normal standards would be. We are still considered to be novices. And then there's you. I'm assuming that our father, he's watching us. Because not only does he want to make sure that we are alive, but because he is curious about you. Makes sense. Vasya going to at least say something. She's forgetting about her mother. What about her? Most likely, Aki, your mother's watching as well. In fact, she's probably at least not too proud of you. Maybe she thinks you're gonna die. Vasya, Aki can handle herself. Besides, what about your mother? What about my mother, human? Isn't your mother also part of a clan? Yes, so is my father. They are of the same clan, and they were on the same hunting team. Now I suggest you hold your tongue before I remove it for you. Vasya, we saw how the last match would go. I won't be afraid to put you in the dirt and use your mandibles. Well, let's just say I'll find a purpose for them. Is that a threat, human? No. It's a promise if you ever want to try and take my tongue. Now, Vasya, she does somewhat smile, as she does at least talk about how this human, he clearly does at least not know his place. However, he is far out of his atmosphere here, isn't he? I am not. Besides, would you two stop bickering? Aki at least going to slash to a few xenomorph before being able to dodge a tail, go to bring up her leg and smash the xenomorph right up in the face. Her actually then going to sever its tail before going to throw it upwards and throw the acid down towards the xenomorph. As she is going to swing it around and kill a xenomorph behind her. As she swings it with tremendous force and stabs it right through the xenomorph's mouth. As whenever that does happen, she is going to bring up her hand. Her immediately injecting her blades in the xenomorph's face before shoving it in fully. Pulling it out, and then going to kick backwards at another one. Informing them that she is kind of busy at the moment, but from what her data is telling her, it's not here either. And right now, they need to regroup. Meanwhile, we actually have the Elder, who he is paying attention to what's going on down on the planet. He can tell that right now, this is actually sort of interesting. The Queen seems to be producing quite a lot of spawn. The natural wildlife on this planet. It's interesting. He's seen many things, but these xenomorph, they're doing quite well. They're able to gather. From what he understands, there's no native species to this planet. It's all wildlife. And that's sort of strange. They must be still on that early phase of development. At least their ecosystem. However, if there's no dominant species, is it possible that this was a bad idea? Maybe not. Of course, this planet is just another engineer testing ground. Now, with that being said, we do have where Deku, after at least a few hours of xenomorph killing, he does sustain a little bit of injuries. He does have the occasional acid burn here and there. However, thanks to some spray and even some bandages, he's able to manage. The spray being able to neutralize the acid, somewhat, and Deku being able to at least get some replacement gear. It may not be easy, but Deku, yeah. He was able to skin a xenomorph. Somewhat. He just took the dome of their heads. And after at least trying to get that acidic layer to dry out, and even trying to neutralize it with some of his spray, yeah. He would waste the entirety of his spray just trying to make this stuff wearable, or even bear with it close enough to his skin. Now, Deku, he did have many ideas, and he's gonna have to wait till morning before he can continue trying to make a new set of armor, since clearly it's gonna take a lot more time than he thinks. Now, with that being said, we do have where Deku, he is on night shift, and right now he is watching for any xenomorphs that could disturb them. As Aki and Basia, they're both asleep, and they're up in the tree. As Deku, he actually is just looking around the area. They have certain traps set up, and many of them, they are quite lethal. And Deku, he really is just focusing towards one direction. There's only one spot in their defense that is shoddy. There's only one spot in their defense that it looks like a trap that's a lot more dangerous. However, if these things run into one trap, they're most likely to back away and try again. They're not at that point where they can just throw themselves into a grinder. They're still very few in number. At least from what he can tell. Let's see. He hasn't encountered very much wildlife in this area or this region. So much of it must be incubating. Or maybe it's already got a creature hidden within. That'd be what Deku does think. As he does hear a noise and then go to turn. His plasma caster pointing out something in the darkness, as Deku does wait. Before he at least does start to see something bright green and try to squirm. The xenomorph screaming out in pain, as Deku he does just go to wait. As he does hear a very crunchy sound, as the net does get destroyed. Now, with that being said, eventually Deku he does wake somebody else up. And whenever they do see Deku, he is somewhat, well, sweaty. Him at least trying to explain what he was doing for the last hour or two. Talking about how he had to check traps and reset some. And that right now he could go for a break. As you do have Aki. Whenever she does go to get up, Deku does go to take her place. As does go to fold his legs, and then go to lean back against the tree. Him going to bring his hand up onto his mask and go to take it off. That's a lot better. Are you alright, Scar? Yeah, I'm fine. Just tired is all. Besides, we've been hunting all day. Can't blame me. I can't keep up with you two, because I'm assuming your planet has a different day cycle, night cycle, right? That would be correct. However, it's not totally wrong. What do you mean? Our days are similar in length, I believe. And as for our nights, they are rather strange. But at the same time, yautja can go for days. You, a human, you have to sleep every night, don't you? Yeah. I can stay awake for at least 3 days or 2 days, I believe, but that's probably about my limit. I see. Well, a yautja can go for longer than that. That's relatively easy for us, but strenuous for you. We'll follow your human schedules, since those do sound intriguing to me. How so? Well, because they do seem so. Relaxing and just trying to, well, find some sort of enjoyment or entertainment out of it. It's a strange thing to try to explain. No, I get it. Besides, I'm way too tired to talk. So, maybe we could continue this in the morning? Yes, alright. Her going to walk away. As Deku does just go to close his eyes and try to focus. It's so weird. She's so curious. She's just so strange to him. Is she really just a different sort of yautja? From the way it sounded like she was going to say something, maybe she is until hunt, hunt, hunt. Kill, kill, kill. Fascinating. Deku's just trying to wonder. I wonder if she'd like this thing. Maybe this? No, that sounds stupid. She wouldn't like that at all. Wait, what's he thinking about? Why is he thinking that she'd like these things? They just don't seem like something yautjas would like. Is that what seems so alluring about her? She's a different type of yautja? Maybe. Deku kind of confused. As, whenever Deku, he's just leaning back, he finally does start to drift off to sleep. And he does wake up the next day. As the hunt, it would continue. And the three, they would start to work as a group, going through and trying to find and scan areas they believe the queen would be in. As they would start to do that in the next few days. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.